Good morning. Let me know that you're here. As you get here, let me know that you're here. Give me a moment. And then I'm pulling this up on my phone. Where are we? All right, perfect. Goodness gracious, I didn't have any problems with this morning. Wonderful. I was a minute or two late because I was trying to grab my coffee. ah. All right. It's a beautiful day here in Georgia. So I was just, good morning, Wendy. I was just looking at my cup because my daughter just bought this cup at Joann's, the fabric store. I don't know if they're everywhere. So anyway, and it's a Halloween mug, right? And so I think it's one of those things where they have them because there's something that didn't come out right. So on one side, it says, you say witch like it's a bad thing. And on the other side, it says, you say witch like it's a pad thing. So I think they messed up on one side and put a P instead of a B. And live from 60 degrees Raleigh. Oh, yeah. Let's see. It is 68 here in Georgia, but it feels nice. And it's going to be a gorgeous day today. I'm super excited to be here with you this morning. And I'm really loving today's affirmation and journal prompt, like I always do. And so I'm super ready to share that with you. So, Wendy, I forgot, or I don't remember. How long are you going to be there? You're going to be there a week? Yeah, one of my good friends lives in Charlotte. And actually, I went to college in Charlotte, North Carolina. Good morning, Ruthie. A week. Oh, okay. So you're going to have a wonderful time. So, and I'm glad you made it there safely. I'm assuming you just drove up, right? Or did you fly to it? Did you fly? I don't know. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab today's affirmation. All right. So then you'll be home for a week and cruising for two weeks. Oh, good. Good morning, Ryan. I see you watching. I see that you popped in. All right. So today's affirmation is, I joyfully shout yes to the perfect opportunities that light me up and aligned with my heart's desire, building a life full of magic and meaning. So, the main thing I want you to take from this is that you say yes to opportunities, right? And so, a lot of times we get scared when opportunities come up, or we're having doubts about who we are, or maybe we don't even recognize that they're opportunities. And so we just let them go. And the thing is that when we're open to opportunities, they will show up. But we also have to be in the right mindset to even see that they're there. Because remember, we talk about the 50 billion bits of information that come at us all the time, and we filter that out by our beliefs in the world, our beliefs about ourselves and the people around us. So we're only privy to 2,000 bits of information per second, depending on our life assets, the things that we've learned in our life about us and the world. And so we can actually not be seeing opportunities that are just right there because of some of the filtering that we're doing. And so I want you to just kind of tap into just being open so that you can see the opportunities. Because if we're looking and we're open and we're allowing, we're attracting, all of those powerful words, right? Then that opportunity is going to be part of that 2,000 bits of information. I don't know why I do it like this. It doesn't really matter. For some reason, it feels right. But it's mind-boggling when you think about it. Of all the things that we could focus on, just think about when you walk outside of your house or your apartment, wherever it is that you are, and you can hear like some construction maybe going on somewhere. You can hear the birds, you can hear the dogs, you might can hear some conversation, but you're almost like you're filtering one at a time. It's like you focus on this one, then you focus on that one. But what if they were all coming at you all at once, that you couldn't do that filtering, right? It would be like a crescendo of noise in your head. And so that is the beauty of us being able to filter out that nuance of things that are going on around us. But it's also the drawback too. That means that there's an amazing opportunity, amazing idea that's just right here. And it's trying so hard to get your attention, but you're doing such a good job of filtering everything that it can't come through. So this is your opportunity to kind of wake up to recognizing how you might be filtering out and saying no to things, or not even noticing that they're there. Good morning, Carrie. Good morning, Janet. And so I just want us to all be open and ready and willing for things to come, right? And then we're going to shout yes to these opportunities, because that's part of it too, right? Good morning, Jean. We can't, like I said, I don't know, one day, I don't even know what day it was. I said it's like you go outside and you pray for $500, and all of a sudden $500 falls out of the sky. It lands at your feet. Well, nothing happens unless you reach down and pick it up, right? Then you can utilize the gift that you were just given. And so we want to make sure that the opportunities that come our way, we say yes and we take action, right? Good morning, Carrie. Good to have you here. And so we've got so many opportunities that come around us all the time, and we don't even see them. Or we say, that seems too hard. It's too good to be true. How does that work? And we have all these different extra filters that we use to filter out some of those opportunities. And then maybe we look at them and say, that would have been good had I done it. And that's what I want us to step away from. I want us to have the opportunities, say yes and go. And I will admit, Jean Green, I was thinking about you last night and this morning, and some of the stuff that you said had me really thinking a little bit more about the opportunities that come our way. So thank you for that, Jean. Let me see what this says. I always say take advantage of every opportunity as long as it isn't illegal, immoral, or does not hurt anyone. Yes, Wendy. Yes, true. And a lot of times we have that ideal, yet we still say no. And some of that comes from we might have a fear that we can't fulfill that obligation, that we take this opportunity and what if we fail, or we take this opportunity and what if it turns out to be not exactly the opportunity I thought it was. And we have all these thoughts that go around it. And so that's why I want us to really stretch this muscle of saying yes to opportunities. And like you said, and I think this is what Jean said when she was talking about it, was as long as it aligned with her goals and her what did you just say? What did you say, Jean? As long as it aligned with your goals and your values, I think it was. So, and so that can bring in a lot of things. But we can still talk ourselves out of them. And that's what I want to make sure that we are joyfully shouting yes, not just saying, yeah, I think I'll try that. It's like, yes. And remember, sorry, my allergies are kicking up. The thing too to remember is that a lot of times we look at something and we think, well, I don't see how that could affect me or how that could work for me. Good morning and thank you. You're welcome, Jean. Because the thing is that our path, even though we may plan out, good morning, Lynn, we may plan how we want things to go. Best laid plans, right? So our journey, like if we see this opportunity that comes our way, yeah, goals and values, yes. If we see this opportunity that pops up and we so think, oh, that might be interesting, that might be fun, but ooh, that's a bit of a stretch. But I've got this goal over here, and I'm not sure that it aligns with my values, but I'm not so sure it's putting me toward my goal. And so sometimes then we might say no. However, if we remember that sometimes there are movements that go forward and then movements that go to the side and go to the back, and then so all of these movements, we can't predict them. And it's like you meet someone and you start, and it becomes this amazing relationship, whether it's a business relationship or it's a personal relationship, it doesn't matter. But then if you trace back how you met that person, you could not have planned that. You could have not have strategically said, okay, I'm going to call my best friend over here and she's going to say, I really need your help today. Could you go over here and do this for me? And then when you go over there, then you meet someone who becomes a friend who then introduces you to someone else. And then you end up going to a dinner to meet your friends. And there's somebody there that's standing and waiting for a seat and they don't have one. And you say, hey, do you want to have a seat here? We've got an extra seat. And they come and they sit down and they end up being the amazing person that you were wanting to meet. But you could not have even planned any of that, right? It all comes together when you're open and you're shouting yes. Because remember, God throws us out ideas and gets our synchronicities going and gets all of this stuff in our midst. And then we move forward, we take action. So make sure that you're not only just saying yes, but you're not filtering it out so much that you're bypassing a synchronistic adventure that you would never even predict. All right, so now I'm going to share the journal prompt, and let's see if it all goes in there. All right, so let me, hold on, give me a second because I got to delete something out of it to make it work or change a word. Let's see. Oh, where did it go? All right, so I'll take that out and then maybe that'll work. All right, here we go. So here is the journal prompt. I had to take the word journal prompt out to make it work in here. Recall a time you said no and wished you'd said yes. And I know we all have them. So I'm asking you to dive into this today and it really explore things that may have come up for you. So recall a time you said no and wished you had said yes. And then a time you said yes and felt grateful. And we have those too, right? And how can you invite more courageous yeses that align with your heart and vision in your life? That's a biggie, right? So, how many of you have times that you said no and wished you'd said yes? Because we need to recognize those too, right? That way we can evaluate and see those times that you said no and wished you'd said yes. Why did you say no? Was it that you didn't have enough information? Was it that it scared you? Was it that it was outside of your comfort zone? Were you afraid you were going to fail? Were you afraid you're being tricked? What was it? Why did you say no? And then later, wish you had said yes. Fear. All right. Thank you for sharing that, Carrie. Yeah, I think that's for a lot of people. It's fear. And so we want to get on the other side of fear. We want to swing the pendulum away from fear, outside of comfort zone. Yes, yes. Thank you, Jean. So there are so many things that happen because of fear, or they don't happen because of fear of stepping outside of your comfort zone. Right? And so maybe make a list of a few things that maybe you have said no to and wished you'd said yes. Just as a clarity of mind, right? And then I would ask you to take it a step further, just for you, right? As to when you write down maybe let's say there's like 3 things that you wished you'd said yes to and you said no. And it was fear, or it was stepping out of your comfort zone, whatever it was, write down what it was that kept you from saying yes. And then look at, what if you had said yes? What do you think would be different? And just look at it. And it's not to make you feel bad for not saying yes. What it is to give you clarity on why you made that decision. And if you had listened and not been afraid, how would that have impacted your life? If you had said yes, what would the impact have been? And let me just share for a second. Now, my mom, she's always been a successful business person. But her brother, my uncle, was an ultra successful business person. Not to mean, what I mean by that is he had grandiose ideas. She liked things smaller. But he sometimes had amazing opportunities that came his way, and he tried to give one to my mom. So what happened was, there was a piece of property that he owned, and he owned a lot of properties, and he would sell them and make quite a lot, right? And he was a hairstylist. He had a big salon. He had a lot of employees. He had more than one business. He had a lot of stuff going on. And he reached out to my mom one day and he said, I've found this opportunity. There's a piece of property and it's on this corner lot. And he told her where it was and everything. And if you want to go in halves with me, he said, this is how much it'll be. And we can get that property right now for almost nothing. Well, compared to, some of the other places. But he said, I just know within the next 5 years, this is going to quadruple, if not more, our investment. And my mom looked at it and she said, well, I don't know. Should I put the money into that? I don't know that it'd really go up in value that much. And what should I do? And she kind of got a little bit afraid. And so she said, no, I don't think I can do that right now. Well, when that property sold, I think it was like, it could have been 3 or 5 years later. I do not remember. It 10x'd, not just quadrupled. It 10x'd the investment. And my mom would have been sitting really nicely from selling that property. But she was afraid. She was afraid to spend that money. She was afraid that it would fail. She was afraid that she would make a decision that didn't benefit her. She was afraid of a lot of things, right? And so she didn't do it. That was a huge regret for her. A few years later, right? She would have been sitting very nicely. And so, how many times do we do things that maybe it's not that big of a stretch of what we did, but how many times do we have opportunities to do something that we feel it might be the perfect opportunity to expand us or expand our lives, to expand our outreach, to expand and be even more of who you want to be? Happens a lot. Yes, it does, Wendy. And so I'm wanting you today to really tap in to the things that you've said no to. Risk, gambling, yes. And it can you can take a risk doing anything, right? And there's a risk involved with every decision you make. And the thing is that when we can start falling in love with our intuition and guidance and being open, then those risks seem smaller compared to the gain, the thing that you would win, the thing that you would accomplish within yourself, the thing that you would do for yourself. I mean, just think, belief in yourself. Yes. Just think if you decided today, you made a decision for an opportunity that came up. And you said yes, because you did this right here and you recognized this could be amazing, even though it's scary. And you did that. And in a year's time, you had 10x'd your the things that had happened in your life that were great because you had made this investment, whether that was an investment in yourself, some education, whether it was an investment in property, whatever the investment was, because everything we do is an investment. Whether we sit down and read a book, that's an investment. If we get on a call, if we get on a live, that's an investment, because investment's not just money, investment's time, right? And then sometimes it involves time and money, right? It's life, it's living every day. Yes, yes. And so as you're doing all of this, remember, you also want to evaluate the times that you said yes when you might have questioned, ooh, I don't know. And you said yes anyway. And then later it was like, oh my gosh, am I so glad I said yes to that. Whew, what a relief. It was amazing, right? Write out those two. And you really want to dive into what was that defining moment that you said, to heck with it. I'm going forward. I'm going to say yes. I'm doing it. Scary. It doesn't matter. I'm doing it. Write about it. Journal it. And then how can you be even more courageous with the yeses in your life? As long as they align with your heart and your vision, your moral fiber, right? And your goals. But remember, some of the yeses don't appear to have a thing to do with our goals, but it's an opportunity. It's like when your intuition says, you haven't talked to Aunt Sally in a while. Maybe you should call her. And you listen and you call Aunt Sally and she says, oh, I've been thinking about you too. I've got this thing that I'm working on. You want to be part of it? You don't know. But when our intuition is reaching out to us, when we're open, it's going to reach out more. All right. And our intuition, if we're listening, is guiding us every step of the way. Now, whether you believe that to be your God voice, your higher self, your intuition, whatever that is for you, right? It's listen. And not only listen, but say yes, take an action. And there's some glorious things, if you're open, that can just expand who you are and your life exponentially. Is choosing what you do, yes. So, is anybody right now got anything that they've been kind of playing with a little bit, that maybe they have this something that's come up, and you're kind of weighing, yes, no, should I do this? Should I not do that? Has anybody got anything like that coming up right now that they think of? And I'll share what's coming up for me right now. As you know, I just came back from San Diego and saw Stacy's TED Talk, right? And then we had the mastermind. And the woman who was, she's the coordinator. She coordinates and from the TED Talk, and she does so much with the TED Talk. She gets all the women together. She helps them. She curates through them to see who has the message that goes with what she's wanting to share, and then she helps them to get their thoughts together, their speech together. She does all of this. She coordinates. She makes it all happen, right? And when we had our mastermind, yes, several. Ooh, Janet, I can't wait to hear about that. But at the mastermind, one of the things that we did was we all got up in front of the group and we shared a little bit about who we were, what we were working on, and something that we needed some assistance with. And so this morning, I got all these papers here in my notebook where I took notes, and everybody filled out a piece of paper. Well, if they had something of value that they wanted to share with you, they filled out the piece of paper. And then after you finished your talk, they gave you the paper, and then the next person went up. So I didn't get to even look at them until later. So I was looking at them over again yesterday. And the thing that came up for me was the woman who was there with the TED Talk. She put in there that she would love to have a conversation with me and to contact her. So yesterday I sent her a text and said, I'm interested in a possible TED Talk, and I've got a friend who is interested as well. So that reminds me, anybody that's thinking that might be something that they want to try or play with, let me know and I'll hook you up. But the thing is once I sent that message, and she sent me a message back. She said, oh, I'd love to be able to connect over the weekend sometime or sometime next week. All of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh. Can I do a TED Talk? Oh my heavens, I can talk like this all the time. I can do so many different things. I've stood in front of groups, but I don't know. And there's one coming up soon in the Atlanta area. And it's like, oh, all of a sudden I got scared. And I almost messaged her back and said, I think I'll probably have to wait a while. And then I thought about Jean Green. And when she had said something about she was saying yes instead of no, I thought, okay, this is going to bring me to tears, but I'm going to say yes. And so I've still got to reach out to her today and schedule a time to talk. And it doesn't mean I would even get picked, because there are lots of people that want to be part of the TED Talks, right? And you almost have to give a sample of what you want to talk about. And maybe it's not that it's not a good talk. It's just that it doesn't fit with whatever their subject is for this particular talk, right? So it doesn't mean that I would even be accepted for the one that's coming up in Atlanta. And then you have to go and you have to do part of your talk, and then they can evaluate how you fit in and how all this works, and if you have a good enough message, right? So there's a lot of things that goes, But this is the first step. And I'll be perfectly honest, it does. It scares me whew, silly to think about. Now, it's a goal that I've had for a very, very long time, but it's always been a goal that was out there. And now it's right here, right? But I'm going to say yes. Yes to starting. Now, and I'm going to let go of expectations. Maybe it's not that I'm going to do the TED Talk. Maybe I'm going to meet some amazing people in the process that will put me somewhere that maybe it's not a TED Talk. Maybe it's something else. And so you see what I mean? This opportunity has come up and it's scary. I'm going to go forward, but I'm releasing the outcome. I'm releasing the expectations of, yes, she's going to love what I say. She's going to say yes. And then I'm going to do this TED Talk, right? I'm releasing all of that because that doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm taking the action and beginning the process. And that process could look thousands of different ways. And the thing is like I talk all the time about as coaches, what we do as coaches for people. For those of you who are coaches, you get this. It's like a person has a map of what their life is and what they expect it to be and how they think it's going to go, right? And what the action is that they think they need to take. And as a coach, it's almost like we're hovering above, we've got a drone that is above their life. And we can just hover around and we can see that they're about to take a left, but the bridge is out just right down from there. So we can step in and say, hey, if you want the challenge of going over around this bridge, then go that way. But if you want it to be a little bit smoother to get you closer to your destination, take a right. Now, some people are going to choose to still do the bridge and do the challenging, hard part, right? Some people are going to say, I'm good. I think I've learned a lot. I don't need that challenge to help me grow. I can go around this way and find another way to grow even better. And so as a coach, as a hypnotist and a coach, I have the ability to look at things from an outside perspective. And so I'm inviting you to kind of look at your life in that way to see it's okay if you decide to go the hard route and do the bridge thing, right? It's okay. You still learn things, you'll grow, you'll become even better person than you are today. Not that you're a bad person, but you know what I mean, right? But then if you can see that there's another route that you can take to grow even better without all the pain, take that one. That one's okay too. And the thing that happens to a lot of people is that because over time we've been, I'm speaking for me. I've been inundated with people that imply that if it's not hard to come by, then it's not worthwhile. Or if it's not hard to come by, you're not going to keep it. You're not going to manifest anything. You're going to you're going to lose it all, right? And so we can have those ideas in our mind, which implies that even if you could take the easier route and grow and do all those things, that with that mentality, you're going to choose the hard path because you think that is the price you have to pay. That is the thing that makes it where people say, oh, wow, look at all they went through. And then they got there, It makes us feel like we've earned it. But see, no matter what, you earn everything that you do, whether it's hard or it's easy. You still did the action, you still learned, you still earned. So you get to choose. So as you're going through and you're evaluating the yeses and the no's that you've had in your life, the ones that you've said no to, the ones that you've said yes to, how can you make more courageous yeses that align with your heart and vision into your life? Get an above view of your life and just decide, do I want things to be easy? Do I want things to be hard? And then figure out, why do you feel that way? And like I said, most of us feel like it has to be hard or there's something wrong. Do any of you have any of those beliefs? And you know, one of the things that comes up as I'm saying this is that I had uh, a thing come up for me one time, and it wasn't really hard to do. And somebody implied that I didn't deserve the thing because I didn't work hard for it. And that kind of stuck with me for a long time. So then I started feeling like, well, wow, if it's too easy, then I haven't paid my dues. Have you ever heard that? You pay your dues, right? And what's the old saying? What is the one? Beauty through pain. Um, uh, there's a lot of sayings that imply that if it doesn't hurt, as you live longer, you realize easier is better. Yes. Well, you know, the thing that is amazing to me is that so many younger people are starting to get that idea, right? And so I think the next generation is going to have a totally different mindset about things. Not to say all of them, you can't lump everybody together, but just think about it now. There are so many people that are much younger, that are entrepreneurs, that are doing exponential things, right? I mean, crazy amounts of money, crazy amount of influence, and they're doing good with it. Because past generations, the only path to riches was in corporations. You climb the ladder or you steal and cheat, right? So there's a whole new group of people that recognize that you can make a difference without all the hard stuff, right? And luckily, you know, they're learning it much younger than I ever did. And I'm still learning, right? I'm definitely not where I want to be yet. But the thing is that when we get to the place we want to be, we always look and say, okay, that was great. Now what? What's next? Because if you're growing and learning and becoming, oh my gosh, you don't get to this pivotal place and say, okay, I'm going to go to the beach and sip my ties and I'm going to just laze around and do nothing. No, because that's good for a little bit. But man, we want to have a purpose in our life. And this is helping us to be courageous and say yes and create opportunities in our life so that we get to this pivotal place of decisions and being able to affect change in our lives and others, right? And we can make it easy. Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm looking at the time. I've got to pop off here today, but thank you so much for being here. And I would love to hear how you feel about this affirmation in the journal prompt. So I'm going to go back really quick. Wait a minute. Our affirmation is, I joyfully shout yes to the perfect opportunities. Have a joyfully yes-filled day. Yay, Wendy. So put this on your index cards, your sticky notes, the screensaver on your phone. And like I said, if all you said was, I joyfully shout yes to perfect opportunities, that's perfect, right? Because we want to make sure that you get this in front of you today. And today, every time something comes up, any opportunity or anything, I want you to remember this and then Evaluate. Does it align with my heart's desire? Does it align with my values? Then scary or not, it's a yes. Whew. I would love to hear if that comes up for you today. And then for our journal prompt, and remember, put the date on your journal, your affirmation, your notebook. Put the date, the affirmation, and the journal prompt, and then just spend some time thinking about this and quiet your mind, and then just brain dump whatever comes. So recall a time you said no and wished you'd said yes. And a time you said yes and felt grateful that you said yes. And how can you invite more courageous yeses that aligned with your heart and vision into your life? How can you? By being open and just write out anything that comes up and explore it. Spend some time diving in, because this is a beautiful opportunity to begin having a yes life. Makes me think of Jim Carrey's movie, Yes Man. And if you've never watched it, you need to watch it. And I know it's a comedy and it's funny, but there's so much in that movie that will have you thinking if you have never seen it. So definitely check out Jim Carrey's Yes Man. Even if you don't like Jim Carrey, and I don't know who doesn't like him, but there's always got to be somebody, right? All right. So I am excited to share this with you today, and I will be here tomorrow. Oh, hold on. I can't look yet. I think tomorrow 9 a.m. is still working, but I didn't look to see what time if I had an early client, but I will let you know if that changes. But right now I feel like it is 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. And yes, Janet, have a blessed day. And then as Wendy so eloquently said, have a joyful, yes-filled day. And I will see you tomorrow. Mwah.